What I know about Watcher's Keep from our books, and from speaking to the Knights of the Vigil outside, include Watcher's Keep was an ancient keep of unknown origin that became associated with the deity Helm and the Knights of the Vigil. It was a powerful prison, used to house the most terrible beings whose power was troubling even to the gods themselves. Each level of Watcher's Keep held a keyed portal that granted entrance to the next level. Watcher's Keep was protected more from the threats within its structure rather than those that may have assaulted it from the outside. The magic protecting the seal on its final level was very powerful, but required great sacrifice. It was constructed around the 4th century Dale Reckoning as a prison for the most dangerous and evil creatures the gods themselves wanted locked away. During the time of troubles, the imprisoned one's seal became weakened by the imprisoned one's power. While Helm was the only god not given mortal form in Faerun, he directly tasked the Knights of the Vigil to watch over the keep, so as to never let the imprisoned one escape or be slain on the Prime. To keep the wards holding the imprisoned one intact, the Knights of the Vigil were required to regularly sacrifice one of their own members. This tradition of duty continued until the Year of the Gauntlet, 1369 Dale Reckoning, when the Knights of the Vigil lost their determination to make the sacrifices necessary to uphold their oath. Their leader Odrin began to spread rumors throughout the land to lure adventurers to the keep, promising rewards for helping them. It would seem that this place was created to imprison the most evil creatures to come to our plane, and I would see it continue to be used that way. Even if that means its wardens no longer feel up to doing it themselves. Alright, we're in my pocket plane again. It's time to rest. After we've gone through the first level of Watcher's Keep. And we've got so many new helpful items that were upgraded through Sespinar to be even better items.
Speak.
And I have this book that I've been wanting to read. So, Case of Plenty for bolts, which is what my brother uses. Well, can use. He uses his two-handed sword for the most part. Blessed Bracers, I don't see that really having any use for us. Oh, I had potions here. No, I have none. Or a potion of speed. So I have a Quiver of Plenty, which does a little light moderate damage. So the book. Where did the book go? History of Tether. I actually have 2 of those. For the past 1,500 years, Tethir has had a single strong royal family ruling with absolute power. When a king died or became incapacitated, his oldest son took the throne. As the family trees of those close to power became more intertwined and complicated, there were the inevitable wars of succession and bickering over which second cousin was the true heir to the throne. Civil wars were brief, however, and once the fighting was over, the system returned to normal until the next major dispute in a few hundred years or so. The established reoccurring cycle was broken 10 years ago. The current ruling family had been in power for over 350 years, so long that they had dropped their own family name centuries ago. No one even remembers it now, and simply called themselves Tethir. King Alamander IV was comfortably ruling from Castle Tethir, and the country seemed happy enough, but there was a broad current of dissatisfaction among the people of Tethir. Non-humans were forbidden by law to own land, and since most rights and privileges accorded citizens were based on land ownership, they became second-class citizens as well. Things were especially bad for elves, who were driven deep into the forests of Tether, by royal armies. Alamander IV took away land from the rightful owners and gave it to nobles who promised larger contributions to the royal treasury. These social and economic inequities, coupled with several harsh winters and bad harvests in a row, made the time ripe for a change. It takes more than just a couple of lousy winters to depose a king, however. It takes treachery as well. In the case of the fall of House Tethir, it took an ambitious general and an impatient royal heir. Prince Alamander grew tired of waiting for the robust Alamander IV to make room for him, so he struck a deal with General Nashram Sharbaneth, commander of the king's largest army. While Sharbaneth marched his army towards Tethir, bringing along a sizable group of angry peasants recruited with the promise of land reform, The would-be Alamander V downplayed alarming reports from the king's spies and advisors, silencing the most persistent permanently through murder or exile. By the time Charbonneth's army arrived and laid siege to Castle Tethir, it was too late for loyalists to help. As Charbonneth launched a direct assault on the castle, using the expendable peasants as shock troops, a handful of elite soldiers let in a secret entrance by the prince would eliminate key guards and open the gates. At the same time, the prince, one of the few people allowed to see the king directly, would murder his father. A fire set by the elite troops would destroy evidence of treachery. The general and the prince would emerge from the conflagration and announce a new joint government. The plan was executed perfectly, but only up to a point. Charbonneth double-crossed the prince. His men were much too efficient in setting the castle ablaze, and Prince Alamander, along with most of his fellow conspirators, died horrifically in the fire. At about the same time, a spy planted on the general's inner staff by the equally duplicitous Alamander murdered the general and dissolved his body with a powerful acid before anyone could come to his aid. To make matters worse, everyone had underestimated the resentment the people felt for the royal family. Once Castle Tethir began to fall, there was no holding back the mob. In one night, the proudest, strongest castle in all the country was reduced to a smoking ruin. Everything of value, fine tapestries, plates, and silverware, furniture, jewelry, weapons, clothes, armor, paintings, statues, etc., were either stolen, burned, or just ripped apart and stomped into the dust. As news of the fall of the royal family spread, so did the chaos. In what is now known as the 10 Black Days of Elent, anyone known or even suspected of blood connection to the royal family was put to the sword. This led to some darkly humorous moments, as social climbers who had bragged just a week before of being a sixth cousin twice removed of a royal aunt tried in vain to convince an angry mob that they were only kidding. The nobles who were the biggest supporters of the royal family also came under attack, and some baronial keeps fell. Local leaders who had adequately distanced themselves from the Tethir family, or were popular enough or feared strong enough, survived. These surviving nobles became the initial players in the fight to decide the fate of Tethir. One thing was certain: any leader or type of government that too closely resembled rule under the Tethirs would not be accepted. Royalists became a dirty word in Tethir society. The power struggle continues to this day, and there is no sign of it ending anytime soon. And this is why Jaheira had to flee, actually. Because she was somehow related to, I guess, the royal family. So we have one of these doors opens over here.
I'm so happy you quickly and precisely. I never imagined that we would be doing such
one of these
great
barriers
things.
went down, more properly said. All right, let's put up our protection.
We follow the righteous path, the path of hell.
Without hesitation.
Oh, looks like it's out in a very arid area. Who are these people? Look on me, Orin. See yourself as you might have been had Gorion taken Sarevok instead of you, had your path taken a different turn. Look on me, and know that I despise you and resent the ease in which you lived. I would have given much for a home and a father such as Gorion. Oh, this is not possible. I would never turn evil like this. I shall not allow you to exist. Stop me if you can. So I'm to fight myself now.
Yes? You need something?
Mage just disappeared over there. We need to be able to see the mage.
What is it?
Okay, we need to stop that mage.
Yes?
Okay, it's rebounding on us. guys...
You will fall by my hand!
Angelo. And who's this Semash? These are the people that my brother had. With him. Okay, now he's kind of invisible. And I'm still there. Now she's attacking me.
Fall, creature! I will
Ouch.
require healing as soon as... I'll help however I can.
What you want?
I need to move or I'm gonna die.
Speak.
Oh. That was close. I almost died. Oh, this is what it really looks like here. Whew. That was the weirdest thing, wasn't it? I would say it was. I've often thought of seeing Tomoko again. This is not how I imagined it. She was among them. Oh, I didn't see her. Huh. I couldn't possibly picture you caring for someone, Sarevok. It's easy to make men into monsters. I was a monster indeed, but also a man. That's surprisingly deep. Tell you what, I won't even make fun of you this time. Your empathy knows no bounds. I'm nice like that. But anyway, Imoen turns to me. That's what happens when I'm not around to guide you every step of the way, huh? I wonder who alternate Orin was betting. Oh, Imoen. The man with the bow. He was gruff but handsome. Ha! Really? Well, if you say so, I won't judge. My money's on Tomoko. Pretty and toned and deadly? Yeah, your type. Doubt she was the most fun to be around, though. You would be surprised. Aw, Chrome Dome would know, I guess. Anyway, that's just 2 for 2 on creepy challenges. It's alright, the next one will be a pork chop eating contest. Just you wait. Imoen, you are so silly.
If it must be done.
Well, the golem didn't last too long, but long enough, I guess, to stick around for the fight. Well, that was it then. But it was preceded by a very, very long story and speech about what we could have been and showing our parents. So. Alright, well, I think that took a lot out of us, so it's time to rest. Imoen approaches me as I set my things down for the day. There is a grim set to her jaw. Hey, I've been thinking of everything you've said about dealing with the taint. I think you're right. I better get ahead of this thing and learn to work with it before we get a nasty surprise at the worst of times. I was hoping maybe you could help me do that. Right now? Huh? Sure, I'm glad you listened. She smirks mercilessly. Not spoiled for choices, exactly, am I? I either do this or become surprise monster at some point. I'd rather not take that risk. I could get everyone killed if I lose control at the wrong time. Yes, that's why you do have to control it. I mostly just wanted you to sit with me and make sure I don't do anything stupid or violent. I'm gonna try and tap into that gross pool of power down there and, I don't know, do what I can, I guess. Her mouth purses in a resigned frown. Ideally, push myself to become the Slayer before it shows up on its own. Well, Imoen, this could get really dangerous. That sound like a good idea to you? I think it's your best option. I'll help in any way I can. Alright then, let's get this over with. After all the routine camp preparations are done, I and Imwin sit on a blanket facing one another. So here goes. I'm going to touch that same spark that lets me heal wounds like magic, and then I'm going to sink into it, so to speak. Any tips? Exert an iron will from the start. Nothing but complete dominance will do. Complete dominance. Got it. Wish me luck. Sitting cross-legged in front of me, Imwin closes her eyes. After a little while, her breathing has deepened, her features settling on a serene expression. For quite some time, nothing happens. She remains nearly motionless, hands on her bare knees, shirt-clad chest slowly rising and falling. The magical transformation never rent my gear after it was done, but apparently she didn't want to take any chances with her expensive equipment. Her mouth twitches, then her brow. Gradually, her features draw up into a mild strain. I can feel it. It's unwilling. I think it knows what I'm trying to do. This is so weird, like I'm talking to something inside of me. Make it willing. You are the master. Emmeline goes quiet. She seems to be making a conscious effort to remain calm. Her breathing becomes louder, but remains slow and deep. Hands that had begun to clench return to a relaxed languor. Eddies of mist start peeling off her skin like steam off a tempering blade, curling all around her in a mystical halo. A low hum rumbles in my chest, spreading from her center in a circle around her. She opens her eyes and looks straight at me. They become solid pools of darkness. Death follows in our wake, sister. My soul will become as black as yours. Before I can respond, Imwana's head lolls back and she collapses to one side. I'm going to let the events unfold as they may. She's okay. The moon stirs and lets out a groan. With some effort, she gets off the floor back to a sitting position, hands holding her head at the temples. Ugh, gross. She looks up at me, and her eyes are as blue as they've ever been. I feel so gross. What just happened? The worst time of my life, that's what just happened. Worse than the torture and everything else. I've never felt so... Imwin shudders in utter repulsion. I communed with the thing. That's the best way I got to describe it. I want to think I tricked it. I'm pretty sure it thinks it tricked me. One way or the other, I can become the Slayer now, without losing my marbles, just like you. Don't ask me how, I know. I just know. She rubs her brow and eyelids forcefully. Suddenly, Imwin looks like a mourner at a vigil. I feel like I've been awake for the last 3 days now. I need to get to sleep. Here's as good as anywhere. She crawls to a ball on top of the blanket. Thanks for being there. Imwin's features become lax in barely a moment. She is already softly, not quite snoring. Whatever it was that happened, it appears to have taken a steep toll. I carry her to her proper bed. She doesn't stir even one bit as I lift her listless body, take her to the spot she's already prepared, and tuck her into her bedroll. With my belt of... what was it? Storm? No, not Storm. Stone Giant? Yeah, I can easily lift her. Storm Giant, Strength, Stone Giant. Imwin can now turn into the Slayer at will. I would caution against that, Imwin, because I may not be able to control it.
I made the right decision in joining you after all.
Well, we have the second level of Watcher's Keep to return to. Alright, we are ready? Let us return.
It will be done.
We have to stop whatever evil is trying to escape. So before we go down to the next level, let us put our protections up.
Manus potent.
It is about time.
What is it?
Basic protections.
I'm
Okay,
listening.
let's go down. The mirror hums with energy. The gate to the lower dungeon is now open.
More suicidal fanatics willing to die in the service of hell, I see. Or have you been forced into service, as I once was a millennium ago?
demon. Been forced into service. Huh. Okay. Forced into the service of Helm? A chromatic demon? This doesn't make any sense at all. Are you the imprisoned one? I am imprisoned, but I am not the imprisoned one. Obviously, you are not one of those fanatical knights of the Vigil, or you would have already known that.
Sounds like you have been tricked into doing Helm's dirty work. Looks like we are both unwilling participants in this little drama.
Perhaps you could show me the way down to the next level, and I'll see if I can get us both out of this mess.
Listen, friend. We can help each other. The fact of the matter is, you cannot get through the gate to the next level unless I open it for you.
Oh, really? So it goes for you.
So I'm not going to let you through the gate unless you help me end the enchantment that has kept me bound in this infernal dungeon for the last 1,000 years. Do we have a deal?
You can never trust these creatures of evil. At least I'll hear it out. What must be done?
Glad you've decided to be reasonable. The Helmites were never reasonable. It is so much easier to deal with one who isn't a fanatic.
And if it does turn against me, we should be able to defeat it. We've killed other demons before. This cage I'm stuck in was fashioned over 1,000 years ago by 4 archmages who combined the power of 4 diverse elements to imprison me here for all eternity. How can I get you out? The wizards who trapped me here each had a lab on this level of the dungeon, where they worked to fashion the enchantments of my cage. Each wizard created a scepter to focus and channel his power. Only the combined power of the 4 scepters can lock or unlock my cage. Okay, I will find the scepters. What next?
Gather the scepter keys and place them in the 4 slots around the cage. Once free, I'll be on my way, and you can go through the gate and take on the imprisoned one. If you still want to.
Why are there 2 portals here? To have to help this creature, Orin. We should be ready to defeat it, not free it. Exactly right, my love. I don't trust that thing at all. So there's 2 portals here.
It will be done.
Want to go back? This is outside. Okay.
Certainly.
1. So that would be the 2nd floor. This would probably be the 3rd. 4th. There's 4 levels. Or maybe 1 goes down even further to where the imprisoned one lays. I don't know. Well, we should, now that we're out here, we should probably sell all the extra items we have. Oh, there's another one here. Oh, 5th? 6th? Oh, okay. There's more floors here than I thought there'd be. Alright, we'll go sell our excess items then. And I guess we can always go back to where we were through these doors now that this one is opened. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.